Hello, my name is Mackenzie, and this is my first ever YouTube video. I've been thinking about making a YouTube channel for quite some time, and I never really took that into action because I didn't know how to work any of the software or edit, record anything. I'm very new to computers and stuff, and I found it really hard to try and start taking that into action with no computer knowledge. So I've had a computer for about a year now, and I've been working with computer programs for digital drawing and different ways to use the browsers and learning how to deal with viruses or that sort of thing. And I've been getting a better grasp at it, I suppose. And so I figured that now, since I have a little bit more experience with computers, that I would try to record and edit a YouTube video. So that's what I'm doing here. As I said at the start, my name is Mackenzie. I'm 16 years old, and this is my first YouTube video. And I'm really excited to go through this journey with anyone who's willing to watch. So I have a few ideas for where I want to go with this YouTube channel. I would like to do mostly arts related speed paints, maybe some let's plays every now and then, but I feel like recording and sort of treating YouTube as a journal might be fun in some ways. I kind of like the idea of just being able to sort of talk to myself and have my thoughts first before having someone else reply. I've always had an issue with too many filler words, and actually, when I was first recording, CapCut has a feature where they'll read over your transcript and they'll remove filler words and long pauses. And I looked back and it said that I had used 14 filler words and had 4 3-second pauses within not even a minute. That is honestly crazy. So, if you notice a bunch of cuts or a bunch of jumps in my voice, don't mind that because I am taking a lot of breaks and pauses, trying not to use as many filler words. So, a little more about me. I have been drawing ever since I was born, basically. I have this little picture from when I was still in a high chair drawing with crayons. And my mom was like, "Look, you were drawing ever since you were a little baby." And I was. I love drawing so much, and I never really was like, "Oh hey, I really love art," until I was about 9, and I had this friend, and I think her name was Jupiter, and which is a really pretty name, and she drew and sung so beautifully. I was like, she is such a lovely artistic girl. And so I was like, I want to be artsy like her. So I remember this was at like a Girl Scout camp. So I remember I had a sketchbook with me, but I just started kind of drawing in the bathroom and I was like, this could get a lot better. So I started watching people like Lavender Town and drawing with waffles, and those are some people, YouTubers, who I looked up to the most. I would draw on my sketchbook and my colored pencils and watch them in the living room, just chilling. The artsy spaces that I was normally in when I was younger were like the Facebook art groups, and most of the ones that I were in were just so I could like practice anatomy, and I'd be like looking at them and I would post and I'd be like, hey, how's my anatomy looking? And they'd help me, but at that time I feel like it was not a good time to be on the internet asking for anatomy. I should have just looked at YouTube and been like searching for videos about anatomy, but those people in the Facebook groups were so harsh. They would just pick apart my art so critically. And I know it's like a big thing where it's like small artists or not as, I hate to say it, but skilled artists would be like, oh, it's just my art style, and it's like the hands hidden behind their backs and big eyes and disproportionate faces. But I was one of those people, and I'd be like, it's my art style. It was very, very cartoony, simplistic, very heavy line work because I watched Lavender Town, and so that was sort of a thing where I was like really into heavy line work. But man, were those people harsh. They did not have to be that harsh on me. But since I grew up sort of in those kinds of places, I sort of obtained a very, I guess, thick skin, and I have been really good at handling constructive criticism ever since I sort of threw out those groups. And after those groups, I'd still get kind of sad that people would be like sort of picking apart my art, but I'm kind of glad that I was there so that I can handle that criticism better. So back in 2021, I got my first drawing tablet. It was an Apple iPad Pro, and it was really good for the time that it served me, but it broke so fast. I had a habit of keeping devices on the charger for too long, and so it would kind of wear out the battery, especially with Apple. Like, Apple batteries are so unreliable, and whenever you keep them on the charger for way too long, then they sort of become reliant on the charger. And so you can't take it anywhere. And one of the big reasons I wanted an iPad Pro was so that I could use Procreate and so I could take it around everywhere. But that's not really how it turned out, because after a few months of leaving it on the charger, it became dependent on that charger. So I couldn't take it anywhere. And it broke within, I think, 4 years, which 4 years is long enough for Apple to consider a device antique. I know, it is so stupid. And so a few months ago, I was like, man, I really want to do digital art again. So I brought my Apple iPad Pro to the Apple Store in the mall that's close to me. And I waited and waited, and there was this girl who came up to me, and she was giving me information, or I was giving her information about my problems with the iPad. It wouldn't turn on, and I would have to sit on it to warm it up to get it to turn back on again. And she said, "Oh, well, what kind is it?" And so I told her, and she looked at the numbers on the back, and she said, "This version, this model isn't on the site that I'm on." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "It must be an antique. You can't trade it for anything." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I figured I couldn't trade anything for it, but I was hoping that you could like fix the parts, maybe replace the battery." And she interrupts me and she says that you cannot replace Apple devices because apparently they solder everything together. So you can't take it apart. It's all one big glob of metal. And that made me so upset. And I was like, I cannot believe that only 4 years of using an iPad that cost $400, mind you, was basically a piece of trash just in that short span of time. But despite all of my problems with Apple, it was a really good tool for beginning out in my digital art journey. Procreate is a very good app, very user friendly, especially only for $10 on the iPad. Everything was right there and it was very simple, very straightforward. So it was really good in getting me familiar with the digital art programs and stuff. So, a little less than a month ago, I purchased the Artist 12 Pro from XP Pen, and it sure was a very big difference. At this point, I haven't drawn digitally for a very long time. I've forgotten all of the knowledge that I've learned from digital drawing with Procreate. I didn't know how to shade, I didn't know how to color, I didn't know how to do line art. I forgot everything. And recently I found myself looking at my old art on my Instagram account and saying, wow, my old art looks so much better than my current art. So I began to relearn everything. I started watching YouTube videos just like when I was in middle school, watching the TV, studying, drawing with Waffles art and Lavender Town's art, trying to figure out what the best way to do everything is. And that's not even mentioning the new program. Oh my gosh. Learning how to use Krita after using Procreate was a nightmare. Everything is formatted so much differently than it was on Procreate. Everything has a category, everything's so much more in depth. And I specifically researched programs that were very UI friendly, trying to find ones like Procreate, and Krita was one of the ones that came up at first. And I was like, after I downloaded it, I was so overwhelmed because I was like, this is nothing like Procreate. This is so much harder and in depth. And since I was so new to computer stuff, it was really like I was blind. It was so hard, but I tried to be patient. I had to be patient, and I researched one little thing every time that I found something. I was like, how do I do this? I had to go on either my browser and type it in, or I'd go to YouTube and find a YouTube video to help me figure it out. And it certainly it certainly was a journey. It was really hard, but I really like Krita. It's been really enjoyable. I really wanted to try Clip Studio Paint, but just paying so much money monthly without a job currently, um, it's just not something that I can afford right now. But once I get a job and I start getting some income, then maybe I can try out Clip Studio Paint. And I think that I'd like to explore different programs if I can. And maybe learning animation would be fun because I've never really been good at animation. So learning how to do different things would be really fun. But let me know what you guys think. So, I don't know how many people are going to end up watching this, but I'd like to know what you guys think. If you guys would like to see animation or a lot of drawing, speed paints. I had a lot of options with this sort of YouTube thing, and I could either just do calming speed paints without the voiceover and the lo-fi music in the background, or I could just start uploading shorts like 10-second speed paints of the finished product. Or if you guys like to listen to me ramble on over my art about just random stuff, I mean, my kind of goal for this YouTube video was to try and let you guys in on a little bit of who I am, like an introduction, so that you guys are like, oh, who is this? Just a sort of, hey, hello, like, here's who I am, here's what I'm passionate about. And I really think that I could enjoy this even after just these almost 20 minutes of talking and more time drawing and editing. I kind of really like this. Like, I think I could get used to this. It's definitely something that I'm gonna have to get used to because I am not really a talker. Most of my friends have most of my friends have ADHD. And so I'm normally just talking, listening to them talk, and I'm not really the talker. I mean, I'm also introverted. I can't blame it all on them, but I mean, I really think that I could get used to this. I also have an option on maybe turning this YouTube channel into sort of a drawing and gaming channel. Like, with this channel, I don't want to feel like I have to appeal to everyone. Obviously, I am willing to do certain things to entertain other people, but whatever it is, I want to feel like I'm enjoying it. I've been on YouTube for a long time. not not uploading things, but just watching it and seeing other people's experiences with it. And I know that I really want it to be just a chill space for people to come hang out, maybe fall asleep to some calming speed paints. I would also like to do some sort of animation thing. I have a Discord, which I'm sure is going to be in bio, that I want to grow a community in. I want people to come into the Discord and make friends with fellow introverted artists. I know a few people who really struggle with making friends and really putting themselves out there because it's scary when you haven't gotten much socialization in life. And I understand that. I've been homeschooled since first grade. Like, I understand not being very social, but I just want people to feel comfortable in a space with people like themselves, because it's way easier to talk to someone who you're like than it is to talk to someone who you aren't alike at all. Um, but I was thinking about maybe hosting some events in the Discord, like playing games. Like, I love Gartic Phone, but I've only been able to play it a few times. Most of my fellow homeschooled friends aren't allowed on certain apps, and they're very restricted on their phones. So I haven't been able to play Gartic Phone in forever, but I would really love doing that with a community like you guys, and maybe making it into a video, doing clips and animating it. I have always thought that was super fun. Like, Markiplier with his Five Nights at Freddy's clips, or Yandere Simulator. I really loved watching those when I was younger, and so I'd like to kind of bring that back as like a sort of nostalgic thing. And I have so many ideas, and I really hope that this will work out and you guys will really like this stuff, because I would really like making this stuff for you guys and having a community with you guys. So, a little bit about what I'm drawing here. This is myself. Um, Normally, the characters that I draw resemble myself in some sort of way, but I figured that just for this video, since I want you guys to get to know me a little more and introduce myself, I figured I'd just draw myself sitting on my bedroom floor. I have a birthmark in the middle of my head, and that's one of my favorite things to draw on myself, because I feel like it really makes me me, you know? When I was younger, my mom told me that it was a scar because whenever I was born, they had to get rid of my unicorn horn. And for such a long time, I believed that. And when I figured out that that wasn't the truth, I cried so hard. But when when I grew up a little bit, I sort of got self-conscious of it, because it was something that made me different from a lot of people, and I couldn't really wear hats because they'd get itchy and it'd make my birthmark like irritated. And so I wanted to remove it, but it never ended up happening, and I'm really glad that it didn't, because I kind of like being able to stand out now and having that birthmark to remind me of how I'm different from other people, and I'm different in a lot of ways, but I like being different and physically distinguishable from a crowd of a bunch of other people. One of the things that I really love is mushrooms, so I drew some mushrooms growing through the carpet. I don't actually have mushrooms growing on my carpet, but I wanted to draw those on the carpet because I really love mushrooms. Something else that I really enjoy is music. When I was little, I was only able to listen to country music or Christian music. But when I grew up, I was able to listen to more than that, and soon enough, I was listening to more like 80s rock. My dad plays music in the garage, so I would listen to the music he would play in there, and it'd be like early 2000s sort of music and the 80s rock classic sort of music. But I've really grown to like indie music. Some of my favorite artists are like Arctic Monkeys and Mother Mother. Whenever I feel like just calming down and unwinding, I'd normally listen to Jeremy Zucker. He was someone that I used to listen to so much, and he was kind of the first musician where I would listen to his music and his music alone, because normally I don't really follow artists, I just listen to music. But Jeremy Zucker was one of the first people who I'd actually listen to their music, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I love Jeremy Zucker's music. So he's helped me through a lot, and I really like his music. I've been studying a lot about rendering and shading and stuff. I really haven't been very good at rendering. I figured that I would practice, and I feel like I've learned a lot because I used to never draw outside of the lines. Like whenever you're little and you're on your coloring pages, you're told to color inside of the lines, and so I was sort of bound to that rule for a really long time until very recently. I've only done 2 drawings where I've actually colored outside of the lines. I'll go on top of the line art and I'll just do some details with a calligraphy like brush, like flyaway strands of hair and sort of coloring over the black line art, giving it more texture, making it seem more alive. And I think it's really paid off. This drawing isn't one of my best drawings, but the one that I did yesterday was really nice. I was really proud of it, and I was like, wow, I cannot believe I did that. I've always kind of been self-conscious of commissions or making people pay for my art because I never really had confidence in my art. But recently, now that I've been doing better at rendering and coloring outside of the lines, I feel like I'm way more confident in being able to charge people for commissions now that I can look at my art and be proud of it and have confidence that the person who paid is proud as well. So, commissions is something that I'd really like to push now that I know that I'm, I guess, good at it. I'm just gonna let the speed paint run for a little while, and near the end of the video, I'll talk to y'all again, just saying goodbye and a few other things. But until then, enjoy the rest of the speed paint, and I'll talk to you near the end. thank you all so much for watching. If you watched until the end right here, I am honestly super surprised. But even if you didn't make it all the way through with watching everything and you just skipped past and over here, thank you anyways for clicking on this video, and I hope that you can stay and become a part of the community. To anyone who may be having a rough day, I hope it gets better. Drink some water, take a nap or something. It is currently 12:45, and so I'm gonna go to bed pretty soon. But I hope that all of y'all have had a great day and that you all stay safe. And if you haven't yet, join my Discord, follow my Instagram. Maybe we can become friends and you can help build this peaceful community. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like the video, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!